Hey, this is V, and I've just finished reading Late Bloomers by Deepa Varadarajan. My apologies if I'm pronouncing the last name incorrectly. So this is the story of an Indian family, like it follows the ex-husband, ex-wife, and their two children, and is written in a rotating first-person point of view. So, Lata and her husband met through like an arranged marriage where she came with him to America, and after being married for 30 some years they have now gotten divorced. Like the truth is that Lata always I feels like she was never really happy in her marriage, and now that both her parents have passed away she doesn't really feel the obligation, I guess, to remain married, and she really wants to try to live like her life for herself for a change. So she doesn't fight her husband over the house, even though it was a dream house, I guess, that they designed together. And instead she takes her part of the money and moves out into an apartment and gets her first job at a library. And in the course of I guess her life now as a librarian, she meets this music professor, or is it history? I think it was music professor who is actually kind of smitten with her and I guess asks her out, and this starts an entirely new set of experiences for her, because the truth is that she has never, like in her life, ever been on a date before. So then we have her ex-husband, who seems vaguely, I think, confused at how they ended up separated in the first place. Like he thinks he always did his best and was like a good husband, or like he doesn't. One of her complaints about him was that he's not someone who reflects much on his own failings and always blames like when things go wrong on other people. And it's kind of obvious that this is a little bit of what he does, but he has decided to venture into the world of online dating with like advice and stuff from his son. But he hasn't really had a lot of luck with this, since he feels like all these women like lie all the time on the internet, even though he also lies about a lot of things on his own profile. Although some of his interactions are pretty funny, because it includes like there's this one woman where she told him that she was trying online dating because her husband passed away, and then she asked him, oh, like, how would you prefer to die? And he's thinking, yeah, please, get him out of there. Not really first date material. But his dating adventures are not going as he planned, and he is honestly like really lonely and kind of wants everything to just kind of go back to the way it was. So then we have their two kids. So the daughter is a history professor, and she's been having kind of an early midlife crisis, because she is dating someone who is still married, and she feels like she's caught between like kind of actually loving him and the fact that he's probably not going to leave his wife, but also feeling like maybe she's too old at like 30 or so, to like 35 I think it was, to find someone different, like, which is slightly ridiculous, I guess, in the light of what her parents are up to. But like she seems to be stuck, I guess, in this mindset that is making her extremely unhappy, and she's having to deal with kind of like both her parents' divorce and a lot of these relationship issues in her own life, or the lack of a relationship, and having to kind of rethink a lot of the choices that she made. And lastly, we have the son, who seems at first glance to be the most well-adjusted person, because at least everyone else thinks he's happily married and has a kid and is fairly well off since he works in finance, and his wife is like even more high ranking than he is, like in the company. But it turns out that he is not in fact married to the woman he is living with. It's just that when she got pregnant, she told him she was gonna have the kid with or without him, and he decided that it would be with, but he was too, I'm not sure if it's like ashamed or scared or whatever to tell his family the truth. So he lied to them about having like eloped with her, and this has caused friction both between him and his family and his like quote unquote wife, and of course his I guess it'd be more like a live-in girlfriend. Like she's really upset that he made her party to this lie and that she has to keep up this facade when she interacts with his family, and it creates all these other tensions. But at the same time, he's actually still slightly hung up on a former girlfriend and perhaps not entirely certain whether he wants to marry like his current girlfriend or not. And then like so he's wrestling with his own issues regarding this relationship, and all of these different plot lines come to a head as the characters move through their lives towards the son's kid's first birthday party. So I thought this was a really interesting read. Like I enjoy just kind of seeing the lives of people in families that are very different from my own. I think Lotta's line especially like struck a chord with me. Like I think she kind of reminds me, I think, of how it's easy, I think, to take mothers for granted sometimes and not realize like how much they do for us all. Like she is like, from when you get the points of view from her husband or ex-husband and her children, like they all kind of expect her to be the stable one, the reliable one, the one who's always there, the one who always takes care of them. And like she was, you know, she looked after so many things in the house when she and her ex-husband were together, that now that she's gone, he doesn't even know like how to get someone to fix the broken dishwasher because she took care of everything. Like, and I think this feeling for her that, you know, in some ways she never got the chance to live her life like for herself, but at the same time, I guess her finding the courage to start, even though she is getting on like late 50s, 60s, like not someone that, you know, people typically think of as being out there and dating and looking for relationships. But I think that line in particular I found very touching, I guess. So there isn't really anything that I dislike about this story other than the fact that I would have liked to see it go on longer. Like it does reach a point where you where each of the characters have found some type of way forward, I guess, in terms of like how they plan to try to approach their lives from this point onward, but you don't get necessarily a lot of resolutions. But I guess that might just be life for you. Like if it went on, there'd probably be more problems, so it would never really end. So like I said, it's not really a flaw, it's just something that I would have liked to see how things developed.